Hello friends and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Last episode, we started unlocking some of our various options for item routing, which included logistic pipes, as you can see behind me, as well as integrated dynamics. Now, we still have a long way to go before we've redone our entire base to take advantage of integrated dynamics and these logistics pipes. As you can see, we still have all of these Ender IO conduits going everywhere right now, and that's kind of a mess. So we're going to want to clean a little bit of that up. But today, we also want to start unlocking some of the next tier of ore processing. So without further ado, let's dive in. So now that we have an infinite amount of red, blue, and green research at this point, just generating so much of it, I think I have about 500 blue research now, we can finally start unlocking a whole bunch of these other things that have been nagging us for a while. So first off on my list is going to be the induction smelter. This allows us to melt some ores that we can't currently melt down. So for instance, this will allow us to make Signalum. We can't do that right now, and that's kind of one of our blockers that we need to deal with. So we're going to do that. That also gives us a way of using some of the slag that we have laying around. I also want to go ahead and unlock our compactor because then I can get rid of these awful machines that are making these noises behind us. That would be the metal presses from Immersive Engineering, and we're going to use the compactor to do that instead. And we're also going to go ahead and use the gear die here. Now, we can't get the mega metal press yet, and we can't get the electrode alloyer yet, but at least this will help us clean up a lot of our production right now. We'll go ahead and unlock the tier 3 here for the clumps because that's the next thing on our list. And this is again the induction smelter that we just unlocked. Apparently we have to do that twice. There we go. So now we've unlocked the things around the induction smelter as well, but we can't get the upgrade here to accept liquid pyrotheum just yet. Again, we need purple research for that, and we don't have any. I'm going to go ahead and unlock the assembler because that's just something that's been sitting there for a while and needs to be unlocked anyway, and it really is cheap compared to how much research that we have, but we need this to be able to do some of our auto crafting of things like, say, our treated wood planks. I think we can go ahead and get fluid crafting as well while we're here, and this is for the sequential fabricator. There we go, and now this can take fluids, and that might also allow us to do treated wood planks. I'm not sure. I'll need to check it out. And then last but not least, I do want to do the integrated crafting if we can, and I think maybe if we put some of our other ingredients away here, we will be able to do that. Let's go ahead and try this. We've got that. We've got that, and we've got that. Okay, so auto crafting within integrated dynamics is going to save us a lot of trouble as well, and I think that might even allow us to replace some of our logistic pipes as also. So at that point, that's most of the research processing that we can unlock at this point. Now, power, we can't do anything else yet because we don't have purple research. Now, I've ignored windmills for a while. There's no reason that I shouldn't just go ahead and unlock this, even though we're not going to use it. Again, this is just for completionism at this point, more than anything else. There we go, and sales, of course. So now we have that done. We could go ahead and get the next tier of solar panels, but at this point, it's only producing 64 RF per tick, and they're expensive to make, so don't know if that's really worth it. Oil needs to happen sooner rather than later, because that's going to be the bottleneck for getting to plastic. And then material processing, again, there's the plastic that I was just talking about. I think the main thing we need now is the Enderman data model and the mob data model. So let's see if we can get enough research to finish those off real quick. Perfect. Now we can do the Enderman model, and we'll need the mob model as well. And let's see here. If we can, I would love to do also this last one here, the thermal elemental data model, because that's going to allow us to get blizz rods and whatnot. Okay, blaze is still out of our reach. Now, all three of our next tier of ores, Enderium, Signalum, and Lumium, all require the induction smelter. And that means we're going to need a steady supply of sand, because that's how you make these, generally speaking, is in the induction smelter. Now, can do the arc furnace, but we're not there yet, so we're going to ignore that for now. So, to have a steady supply of sand, we actually need sand for a few other things that we're doing around the base. So to that end, I think making a small facility that all it's going to do is provide us with our basic resources that we need would be really smart at this point. Perhaps we do one just for wood. Perhaps we do an area just for sand and cobblestone. I think that would be a good start. So here's our main ore production and processing facility here on this side. So next door to that, I think this is a good area to start building out machines just to create our more generic resources that we need. So to get started here, I think the first thing we want to do is build the highest tier of cobblestone generator that we can. So I think that's probably going to be, can we do the next tier up here, the 128 per second? I think we can. The 16 per second is relatively easy, and the 2 per second is nothing. 16 per second is probably more than enough for what we need. So let's make 8 of these basic cobblestone generators. So for that, we're going to need some more basic plating, which is the main thing we're needing. Just like that, there's 1 stack of basic plating. That might not even be enough, but we'll go ahead and try it. So we need 8 of these. Oh yeah, that's plenty. Great. And then we need 1 piece of bronze to make that, the 16 per second. And I think that should be enough for now. Otherwise, we're going to have to make 7 more of those to make our 128 per second. So let's start with this. This is going to be our source of cobblestone. Now that cobblestone will need to go into a series of pulverizers. So the first row of pulverizers will take the cobblestone and turn it into gravel, and the second row of pulverizers is going to turn that gravel back into sand for us. So we need to make up, let's say, 8 of these, 4 for each row. I think that'll be enough. Assuming I have all the things I need. No, I need 2 more pistons. There we go. Ah, great. And just enough, we just ran out of everything, so that's perfect. So they're going to come out of the compact cobblestone generator there and into a row like this. And you know what? I actually don't want them in that direction. I want them in this direction. There we go. So we can do input output like we'd done on the last round. And then we'll do the same thing here. Just like that. So now we have to configure all of these. Now, McGarvey had commented on my previous video and said that there's a tool called RedPrint, which is apparently like the conduit probe, but for thermal foundation, in that you can copy and paste the settings from a thermal foundation machine. So maybe we try and make one of these real quick and see how it works. It's easy enough. It's just paper and redstone. So in theory, if I copy this, I should be able to paste those settings everywhere. So we're going to use our trick again to clear out all of our settings, auto input, input from the left, and auto output on the right. I think that's what we want to do here. So there we go. I think that worked. Yeah, that definitely worked. It just needed to work out the little kinks and figure out everything that's going on there. But yeah, this seems to copy and paste everything. That is wonderful. And then we can clear it and reuse it. That is awesome. Thank you, McGarvey, for that extra hint. That's really helpful. Now, we're also going to pull back out our conduit probe because I think we are going to use Enderium for these cables, just because we do have a bunch of Enderium cables laying around and we may as well use them. So we're going to extract on green, round robin, always active, and self-feed. And then these just need to be inserted on green. So we can copy this with our probe and paste that to all of these. And that should start getting in cobblestone. Yes, yes, they will. And then we just need to do the same thing here for these. So we're gonna copy this and paste that here, and then copy the input and paste those here. Great. So that all seems to work real quickly to get us where we want to go. Now, the one thing that we're missing here is power. So I think this is where we're going to bring in our omnidirectional controllers from Integrated Dynamics to bring power in, as well as to start using it for more advanced item routing. I think what we want to do here is build ourselves an Integrated Dynamics battery, which, what's the name of that? Is it just battery? I think it's just energy battery. That's right. And for that, we're going to need 1 LV capacitor. And then we can put our battery down wherever we want. In this case, I'm going to put it probably right about here, like near the door, or maybe right at the door, somewhere like this. So I think we need an energy exporter that we put on top there, and then use our logic cable to connect it to an omnidirectional controller that's already hooked up to match our existing network, so group 0. So let's put that on top. And then once I give this any variable card, it should just start exporting energy. Yep, and you can see it's automatically exporting energy. We might want to configure this just to tell it that it can transfer up to 5,000 per tick. So that should be plenty for us. And now this can be used to power everything else that we have in this array. We'll go back to our Ender IO cables, and I know I'm just mixing cables at this point. It's absolutely silly, but until we have enough of our Integrated Dynamics cables, we're gonna have to do this for a little while. And again, I also like that Ender IO cables double up in a single block. And there we go. We just had to put a lever onto our energy battery before it'll output power. That's a good thing to remember because I keep forgetting it over and over again. So all of our pulverizers are now getting power, and those are slowly pulverizing our cobblestone into gravel. That gravel then should be put into these pulverizers to turn into sand. Wonderful. Now, we do need to go ahead and make our upgrades. What do they call those? The nullification chamber. So we're going to add this to our shopping list, because we need to destroy all of the secondary outputs coming out of here. At least the flint, because we're not going to be using that. The secondary output from our pulverizer with the cobblestone is going to be sand, and we do want to keep that sand in the system. So when we wire up all of our outputs from these things, that sand we want to put back in here. So to make those, we're going to need our tank of lava, which I had refilled earlier. And we're just going to need some Invar ingots, which is easy enough. I think, yeah, that should be enough. Just 2 stacks there, or 2 ingots worth, so we get 18 of those, because I think we'll only be using 16 all day on those. Yeah, that's right. Drop those there. And we just repeat this process a few times. I could have done it probably with my reservoir, but the reservoir holds too much, and that doesn't really get us what we want. So we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way here, by hand. So now, with those in hand, we can upgrade these second machines. There we go. Perfect. So now that means any excess flint will just get destroyed. We don't need to worry about that anymore, and it just goes back into our system. So that's kind of perfect for us. Now, with all of this sand, we need to store it somewhere that it's going to be part of our overall system again. So we want to connect it back to our logic cable here. So to do that, we are going to make ourselves another storage container. And we're just going to put that down like right here so that we can attach an item interface to it on the side. Let's pick back up our lava before we forget about it. And now we need to route all of these ingredients into here. I think here we're going to use another suggestion that came in from Blackest Dawn. I think we're going to use the item filters, which come with Ender IO. So we should have unlocked this a whole long time ago. This is something that's just been sitting around on my list of things to do for a while. I don't know if we can go ahead and unlock. Yeah, we can unlock more of these. Big item filter, conduit speed downgrade. We don't need that. We might need that, actually. You know, we can just go ahead and unlock a whole bunch of these. So let's just grab ourselves a bunch of research up, and let's see how much of this that we can unlock real quick. Submit that. Okay, that's one there, and then these here. Great. And how about that? Can we still do that too? Perfect. Those item filters are all unlocked here. And we want just the basic item filter, I think, which is real simple. We just need to make ourselves up a mess of hoppers. There we go. And then we're going to make ourselves a bunch of basic item filters with those. Just like so. And that also completes a task for us. I think that's way, way, way back over here that we finally get done. So with our item filters in hand, what we can start to do is teach our network here what to do with our various items. So let's go ahead here and grab up, say, one piece of gravel. And with that, we should be able to tell our basic item filter in this that we want to insert only gravel. Just like that. So that should give only gravel inserting. Do we think the conduit probe will work with those? Let's see. No, it did not. Do I just need to put an item filter in it? Is that why? Can I do this? Yeah, that doesn't work for item filtering, or maybe I'm just doing it wrong. Whichever the case happens to be, we're going to manually set these and tell them only to let gravel in to this machine. So we'll do that like that. There. And I think that should have set all of these now. This also means that on these machines, we no longer have to output from the top. We can actually save ourselves a couple of cables here by disabling this and exporting both items from the side. So let's use our red print again to copy that. And there we go. These all should have orange. Okay, so these are going to output both items from this side now. Similarly, we can do the same thing with these and have them... I guess we still want these to export from the top, right? But we could just tell this to do import, export, tell it to do everything on that side. And now we're importing and exporting on here. So if I copy this... There we go. All of these should then be doing importing and exporting from the same side. And now we can tell this to extract on green again. Like so. And that should work. I guess for that we can use our conduit probe, right? In theory, is that going to work? Self-feed, always active, and it kept our gravel. Yes, it did. And now, with all of those things in hand, we should be able to then tell this that we only want to insert sand. So let's grab up one piece of sand. I guess that's half a stack of sand, but whatever. And tell it to only insert sand and turn that on. So now these are all on green channel, but these are being filtered by those item filters. And in theory, that should pull out, yeah, all of the sand out of these with no problem. And all the sand is out of the secondary ingredient storage here as well. Perfect. Okay, so that's going to work flawlessly for us. Again, thanks to Blackest Dawn for the tip there about we should be using item filters. The only thing left here is we probably need to make at least one storage upgrade. And in this case, I think we can afford to make a diamond storage upgrade so we have plenty of our sand. The last thing is we need an item interface on that. So this will give us access to our sand anywhere that we are into our wireless network. So now we have all of this wired up for basically an unlimited amount of sand. Now, I am concerned that this isn't going to produce fast enough, so we might come back here and upgrade all of these as well with our hardened upgrades and with our, the reception coils as well, but we're not going to do that yet. We're going to hold off on that until we actually run into a bottleneck. So that means we can start tearing down some of the other places where we are currently manufacturing sand using that same process, only, much slower. There we go, item exporter. So let's grab that. And I think if we just put this down on this machine like this, we can tell that to export just the one item that we actually need here. Cable and then an omnidirectional connector. I guess I didn't need to put it there, but whatever. Okay, now we're going to export one particular item, and for that we need to program which item that's going to be. So we want an item, and we are going to give it a variable card, and that item we're going to tell it is sand. So item sand, perfect. Now if I go to export item and grab that sand card, I should be able to put it there. There you go, and it already topped up. So we're already exporting all of our sand into this machine. So now we just repeat that process in all of the other places that we're making sand, and we can also use this in our new facility. So to give ourselves now access to the rest of our finished ingot ingredients, we are going to need to connect up our drawer controller here that I've just put down to this bank. And I'm going to do that with an item interface on the back, and then we're going to run our logic cables all the way down this way into our existing system here. So this is all on the same network. I could have done this with another omnidirectional controller, but those are a little bit more expensive than this many pipes, so this will work fine for our purposes. Now we can interact with cooked ingots into our system. So we can then come over here, and it's time to start unlocking a few other machines, or using a few other machines that we have already unlocked, I should say. The sequential fabricator is the next thing on our list, and that also has an upgrade that lets us use fluids, which we're going to need to come back to in a second as well. I think it's this, yeah, bucket icon. So the sequential fabricator is made with a lot of components that we have already seen. We're going to need, let's see, I think one sequential fabricator to start. So that means we need to make one crafting table, and we need to make one redstone reception coil. And that's all we need for a sequential fabricator. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and make our fluidic fabrication augment as well while we're at it, and that's going to complete that quest. And that should be both of these quests over here, which I had been hanging out for a long time and hadn't gotten around to. Okay, so to actually make the Signalum, we do need to do one thing first. The Signalum blend is made with pulverized copper and pulverized silver. That then gets put into our sequential fabricator with destabilized redstone. We also need to make destabilized redstone, which we do have a supply. But maybe this is another case where we need to craft a fluid interface for our destabilized redstone and make that in bulk. So maybe I'll set that up over here with the machines I've already got. So here's our factory we did 2 episodes ago, where we're using our redstone to make our destabilized redstone in bulk. Let's just clear out our inventory a little bit here. Now we should be able to take this machine off of this setup and then replace it with some cables here from Integrated Dynamics for our fluid interface. So let's pick this up and teleport ourselves back over to our new facility here. And we're just going to put this down. I think we're going to run this cable up and over. So let's put it right here for now. So we're going to want to take another one of our leftover tanks. I'm going to use a portable tank for this. And I'm going to put this to, let's say we're going to put it on this side, put it on this side. And here, our destabilized redstone, we're going to reverse this and say that it's going to export on that side, and we're going to import on top. And we need to connect this both to power and to the input from the redstone. So let's grab our logic cables up here. And we're going to run these up and over, just like I mentioned, from this interface. So just enough room that we can walk under it. You know what, maybe for simplicity, we just move all of these up one level. We use the carry-on mod, and we're going to drop that there, and we'll do the same thing with this here. Now, integrated dynamics doesn't let you do two things on one input as far as I know. That's going to use the output card. I think we have just one left of those. And that's going to give us an energy exporter. And maybe we don't put that on top. Maybe we put that on the side here because we're probably going to have more machines. And we just run our cables around to that like so. Perfect. And this should start getting power then as soon as we put a card in it. Like that. So now we put our item exporter on the top. Like so. And we just need to tell this to export redstone. So we're going to need a single piece of redstone to do that. Let's see here, grab one there. And now we grab our portable logic programmer. We tell it that we want an item, a U10, no, an item. And then we program one card for redstone. And now we have a redstone card, great. And our exporter, we just say here, export item redstone. Perfect. And now, as you can see, it already filled up with redstone. So now we have a portable tank filled with redstone, and we need to make that an item interface card as well. Assuming I don't have any left over. Excuse me, a fluid interface card. No, these are all energy. There's an item importer though. So we need a fluid importer. Let's see here. Fluid interface. Yeah, fluid interface is the one we need. Okay, and we just need a bucket for that. So, do we have any buckets left? I don't know if we have any buckets left. We'll find out pretty quick. So, let's make a bucket. And then we make one fluid interface set. There we go. And if we put this on here, now we have access to redstone, stabilized redstone everywhere we go. So that's going to be perfect for us. Okay, I think that's all that we need to do for that. Destabilized redstone is now a thing that we've got access to. Now with that destabilized redstone, we can then pulverize our various ingredients. And you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, we're going to have to repeat this entire pattern again for Enderium. So just hold this in your head because we're going to reset up exactly this right next door to it in the near future. So now that we have our destabilized redstone in hand, all we need to do is build our pulverizers to get our pulverized silver and our copper. Okay, so we put this here, and since we do have so much width, we're going to assume that we're going to grow these horizontally if we need to. So we'll give ourselves a little bit of room, but not a lot of room. And these we're going to attach pulverizers to. So let's do one there and one here. Okay. So these are each going to pulverize various ingredients. And for this, we're going to need our cards again. So we need to grab one piece of silver out of this box. And if we have the inventory space, one piece of copper out of that box. And with those ingredients, we are going to teach two more item cards what they need to do. And our item interfaces, we are going to want to put on here, like so and like so. Excuse me, the item exporters. I'm going to keep making that mistake over and over. Now we just need to program these with what they need to do. So we take our item card again, and we're going to teach this one to do copper. And we'll stick that here. Export item copper. Oh, where's that copper card gone? I just had it. There we go. Okay. And then the other one we need to teach to do silver. So let's go ahead and tell this item silver and give it a card. There we go. There's our silver card. And export item silver. Great. So these are just going to start pumping out items. Now we do need to put power in these as well. I wish we could double these up on here the same way we can do with Enderium. That is a pain. Maybe the thing to do is to run a separate energy line off of here just for simplicity's sake so that we can keep everything nice and tidy because we're running out of room for cables very quickly. So let's do this. There we go. Okay, so these should start getting items immediately. So let's just tell these to import from the top. Oh, you know what? We should export these from the bottom because we're not going to do anything else with pulverized copper or silver, I think. Are there any other recipes for this? Signalum blend, hardened copper glass, bronze blends. We can make these other ways. Yeah, that's the only thing that we're actually going to use it for here. So for both of these, we can just use item conduits. We don't need to put our dust back into the system and clutter things up. So let's just put those there. And then last but not least, let's put down our sequential fabricator here. Now, our sequential fabricator, we are going to want to tie into this system as well. Do you want to put this here? Put that there? I'm waffling over our cable location a little bit. Maybe for simplicity, let's just pick that back up. And let's put our sequential fabricator down here. Right, like, yeah, like this. We'll face it the other direction. And we'll do an item conduit there and a power conduit there as well. Great. So this is getting items and power. And it does need fluid, and we do need to export both. So maybe we turn this around. Yeah, like that. Let's clear out our interfaces here. We're going to insert on the bottom. We're going to insert on top. All right, so we know that's the way that we want to do things. We also are going to want to limit this. What's that other thermal expansion thing that only lets it take the ingredients it needs? Pattern validation. That's what we want. One of these. No, we don't want to do that there. So let's build our pattern validation augment as well. We don't want random wrong ingredients or too many of a given ingredient going in here. That would be problematic for us. So we're going to make up all the things that we need for our pattern validation augment. There we go. Okay. And now the other thing we're going to need here is a hardened upgrade because this is going to require 2 items to input. So let's build one of those real quick. Oh, we're just missing our gear. There we go. Perfect. So hardened upgrade lets us have 2 augments in here. And our 2 augments that we need in here are pattern validation and the fluidic fabrication. Let's clear out the pattern that we have. And we do need to teach this a recipe. So let's go ahead and give it the Enderium. No, sorry, it's not the Enderium. It's the other one, Signalum blend. We're going to teach it that like so. Okay, great. So it should know it needs these ingredients. And then we need to build ourselves a fluid exporter. So how did we end up with 2 fluid interfaces? That's weird. Okay, so we take a fluid interface and we give an output transformer here as well, like so. There we go. Put that there. And now we just need to teach that to export our redstone. So let's see here, fluid. Can we look this up here? Redstone. Wonder if this will work. Yeah, that works. Okay, great. You don't actually need the item in your inventory to do it. That's cool. And so we're going to tell this to give us destabilized redstone. And then we just tell our card here, export fluids, destabilized redstone. Oh, we want a single fluid. Export single fluid. There we go. Okay, so now we have destabilized redstone, we have pulverized copper, and we have pulverized silver. So I think the only thing left to do here, we have those, is to configure these, right? So we're gonna extract round robin, self-feed, always active. We're gonna do the same thing here. Whoop, nope, we're gonna break those, that's what we're gonna do. No, let's put that back. Always active, and then here we just insert on green. And yes, there we go. We're getting our ingredients, and there's our Signalum very, very quickly. Maybe too quickly. Okay, we're going to tell this to output on the back so that we can get this into our system. And we're not going to need an infinite amount of Signalum blend, but we are, I think, going to want to smelt it right away. So what we're going to need to do now is build our induction furnace, which somewhere around here we have got the recipe for. Induction smelter, excuse me. What are we missing for this? Okay, we're missing an Invar gear. We've got a bunch of Invar, so that's going to be easy for us. What else are we missing? Redstone reception coil. We've got that. And I think we can make that smelter. Yeah, great. Okay. Of course, we're going to need something to store it in. You know, at this point, I really should just make an auto crafting for basic drawers. We use them so often. Maybe we set up a requester here next. All right, put that down there. Let's just rotate that around to here. Yeah, that's not actually what we want to do though, is it now? We want to pick this thing up. Let's see here. Let's put that in here. Let's pick it up and put it down there. We didn't actually want to put that Signalum blend in there. We want to smelt it first. So let's put our smelter here. Okay, that seems to work. And this time, let's grab up a stack. Let's put this in here. Now, it needs something to smelt with, right? We figured that out. That's how the induction smelter works. You have to add a secondary ingredient. So we're going to want another item exporter here. Stick this on there, and then we just need to program a card. Typing the word card instead of the word item. And we just want to teach this sand. So let's just put sand here. There we go. And with an item card, we'll save that. So now it knows how to make sand. And this will then export our sand for us. There. And it's already getting the sand in. That's great. Okay, so we're actually importing on this side, aren't we? Let's reset all these. And this just needs a power cable now. Right? That's the only thing we're missing. Let's give it some power. Okay, so now we are getting our Signalum out and our slag out. That's exactly what we want to see. Now, since we're going to probably do a run of these, we're going to want to filter our output again. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of space. And we want to lock these chests. And actually, you know, now that I think about it, we're going to need a slag chest too. So let's put our Signalum in there. And let's see here. We're going to put this down here. And we're going to teach this to make slag, or to store slag, I should say. And then we're going to move this here, pick it up, and put it there. Oh, I got some frame rate lag there. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so now we just need to connect these up. This will need to be filtered. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves a piece of gold or copper pulverized. Oh, it's taking it right out from under me here. Let's grab our pulverized copper and let's go ahead and set this filter here. Whoop. So this insert filter does need a filter. And we're going to teach this not slag, but it only is going to allow here copper and silver. Great. So nothing else is going to be allowed in here. And actually, we're going to move these up one little slot. So let's move this up here, and let's move this up here, like so. And let's get rid of that and put our item cables underneath again. And the reason I'm doing this is because I just want to, you know, make this as simple as possible for our integrated dynamics cabling. So let's put this here and let's put this here. And now we can add item interfaces to both of these on our same network. And now, voila, it has access to slag and Signalum in our system. So this is going to work pretty darn well for us here. The other things that we do have to do now is going to be the Enderium. And for that, we're going to add the Enderman data model to our loot fabricator facility that we've built. Now we're going to need one more simulation chamber. Simulation chamber. Sooty casing, great. And simulation chamber, done. Perfect. So we can put that here. And this we need to configure again. Let's see here, with whatever the same thing as we're already doing here. So let's grab this and paste it here. Nope, copy, paste, great. And that's getting polymer clay and teach it the Enderman model. Okay, wonderful. So we've got 3 storage upgrades for our types of matter that we're going to continue to overflow on, and we're also going to put a void upgrade in each of those as well. Our overworldian, our extraterrestrial, and our hellish matter. All 3 of those we are going to have a whole bunch of. So again, we're going to upgrade our storage for that. But at the same time, we don't want more than a diamond upgrades worth of it, because I don't think we're going to use it. Now we've already got some pristine Enderman matter, so let's go ahead and stick that in there, and we can tell this now we can insert on green, no problem. So that'll self-filter into that container. This is now coming in, and now we need to use this for something. So the loot fabricator for that needs to go over here. So let's make ourselves a loot fabricator. There we go. Sooty casing, good to go. And there, 1 loot fabricator. Okay, so let's go ahead and stick this over here with our other items. We're going to want to get our other power cables. We put those here. There's our MV cables, and put that up there. And this time, you know what? I think I'm going to tear out all of this color coding and do the item filters here instead, because then this becomes, you know, just a heck of a lot simpler for our overall management. So let me pull this all out real fast and get ourselves some item filters put in place. Okay, there we go. I reset all of these up with item filters. And the other thing you'll note here is that I made these priority 1. So these are higher priority and they're all inserting on the green channel. On the other hand, all of the storage containers are priority 0, and they both are import and export for all of our types of items that belong to a given monster. So our shulker matter. We haven't done that on our other types of matter because we're not using those yet, but I did stick down a drawer controller here and another one here for future expansion so we can turn it into something that's connected to the rest of our integrated dynamics network sometime in the immediate future, probably. Now, the only thing left to do here that we've got this set up is we are telling it to automatically make our ender pearls whenever it gets them. So we need to store our ender pearls. So I think we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to tear all of this up, and we're just going to use our storage controller to manage that. Now, that will slowly fill up these containers, except for this one, which is supposed to be getting, that's right, not diamonds. Whoop. There we go. Okay. So that was not the most efficient way of doing that. That's regrettable. But now we have an inventory full of diamonds, and that's not the worst thing in the world. Okay, so with all of the other pieces of this now effectively done, the one thing that we are missing is a way to get items out of this thing, our drawer controller. And unfortunately, I put it right here next to the wall, which is not the most elegant place to have put this. So let's go ahead and just go behind it here. And we're going to go ahead and do another one of our item interfaces on the back of that, like so. And we're going to give it a logic cable on the back of that. And last but not least, another one of our omnidirectional connectors. So now that we have ender pearls, we can do Enderium. So the Enderium is exactly identical to what we did with Signalum here. Pretty much the same precise layout. But before we can make Enderium, we need a source of platinum and a source of lead. Now, thankfully, right here in our original chunk, we had mined out everything except for platinum. So if we set up a drill here, we're only going to get platinum out of that. So that works out really well for us. So let's go ahead and connect this up to our existing power line. Let's see here. We can do this right off of here, right? Right over here. There and there. Okay. And give it a fluxed electrum drill head, and that is only going to start mining platinum, nothing else. So then all we need to do is put on an item importer, which I believe we have laying around here. Input. Yeah, let's do that. And our item interface will go together with that. Oh, we can't use that one. We have to use a blank one. There we go. Importer. Perfect. So this will go on the chest. I accidentally put an exporter on here before, and that caused all sorts of problems. So now we just put a blank import all items, and that should, there we go, pull everything out of our chest that's just laying around that should not go in there. And eventually that'll pull platinum out as well. And there we can see slowly but surely this is indeed getting platinum. That's exactly what we want. Now, not a lot of platinum, that is taking forever, but we will eventually get the platinum that we need. Okay, so there we have our setup now for platinum and lead coming into our system. I did a little bit of reconfiguration here in that I now have item filters in all of these inserters on the top row of these. I'm not worried about it on the pulverizer side, but I am worried about it on the redstone furnace side. And then over here, I have all of these just outputting on green and inserting straight into our drawer controller, which then sorts out all of the other details for us. But since we have an item interface going into that, we don't need to route any cables here around any of these pieces. It'll just kind of magically work for us without having to think about it. So that's kind of perfect. Okay, and there we have our Enderium set up. Exactly the reflection of what we have going on this side. So all of that is working perfectly. Okay, so the only thing left here is to do Lumium the same way that we've already done. Now, Lumium is a little different, and I think that we can use a fluid transposer to fill that. And I think actually we can do this with Enderium as well. But the main benefit of doing the induction smelter is that we do have a source of slag. So I'm going to set this up one more time. This is basically the exact same setup here. And this time we're going to do it for Lumium. So back in a flash after we have done that. Okay, and there we have our finished setup for our Lumium, and we're getting Lumium in now. We're completely full on Signalum. We can't fit any more in here. Got a bunch of slag coming in, and more still to come there. And we're at 90 Lumium now, and a decent amount of Enderium, 500. So this is a pretty good place to be right now. So all of these next tier of ingredients we are now automating, and that means we are about ready to start our next setup for our purple utility research. But that's going to have to wait for our next episode. I think we're at a pretty good stopping point for today. So thanks again for watching Enterprise Architecture, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends.